Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. I got a video today from WheatWaffles. I haven't covered this video in a while, but this one looks good.
Ask any woman who's used dating apps what she hates about them the most. She'll probably tell you a couple of these things. 1. There's too many low-quality options, and the men are so desperate. 2.
Sounds about right.
There ends up being just too many messages to reply to.
I can see that. The choice paralysis, right? They just have too many messages coming at them at once, like 100 messages in a day or so. Yeah, I probably wouldn't know what to do with 100 messages either. I wouldn't even want to go through all of them.
3. For the occasional handsome guy, they either just want to F or barely reply.
Hey, the Chadrones of the world are going to do what Chadrones do.
It's interesting because they actually did a study confirming these complaints are real. I asked AI for a study showing women's biggest complaints, and data from Pew Research conducted between 2020 and 2023 showed the top 3 complaints women had regarding apps were: men continued contacting them after rejection, 60%, receiving unsolicited
60%. So that means you motherfuckers out there, after she says no or whatever, keeps trying. Stop it. Get some help. Right? If she's just rejects you in any way, why keep trying? She already told you she didn't want you. Fuck the games of chasing and yearning and all that. Walk away.
Sexual messages, 57%. Feeling overwhelmed by the amount of attention or
Yeah, the sexual messages. Whatever.
Messages, 54%. These roughly line up with these complaints. And now, the reason I think women report specifically these complaints can be explained by this game theory chart.
Okay.
Imagine these boxes as the options women have on dating apps. Now, of course, the sub-8 looks category is a lot bigger than the chat category.
Sub-8 category right here.
Because there's a lot more average to...
Let me put myself on the screen here. There we go. I'm part of the sub-8.
Below average guys, and there are attractive guys. And I'll confirm this in an upcoming Tinder experiment. As you can see, majority of dudes here are barely average looking. Maybe this dude at the end is the only one that could fall up here. And there's also a personality split. How is this distinguished? Well, this is a guy that I would say has good looks, but a bad personality. When girls match with this guy, they know he's going to be dismissive, impatient, making fast moves.
True.
This is a guy with a good personality and poor looks. These are the types of guys.
He does look like that, doesn't he? He shows a really good picture for this one.
That women complain about being too needy, too many messages to respond to, too many guys. Because there's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these. So these two guys are the two most important on the apps. When it's the handsome guy with the bad personality, this is where women will often have the complaint of receiving unsolicited sexual messages.
Like I said, Chadrones are going to do what Chadrones do. Try to get in your pants the quickest, easiest way possible. And that gets sexual.
And when it's the good personality, poor looks guys, this is where the complaint is feeling overwhelmed by the amount of attention or messages.
Sure.
Or men continuing to contact them after rejection.
Yep.
Now, why is it like this? Take a look at this study. This asks people who have used online dating sites in the last 5 years whether they feel they receive too many messages, just the right amount of messages, or not enough messages.
6% of men say they receive too much. Who the fuck are these men? Like, what the hell? Too many messages? Damn, man. 6%.
And not surprisingly, when we look at the men, 57% said they don't feel they receive enough messages. And of course, that's these average to below average guys here. 6% said they receive too many messages, which is usually going to be these guys. And it shouldn't be surprising, once you're in the top 5% of looks and you're matching with girls left, right and centre, this is when the guys just stop caring.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm like gorgeous or anything, but I'm definitely in the sub-8, but I get some messages. No, you know what? I'm wrong. I get matches. Matches and messages aren't usually the same thing, right? So I guess if we're talking about like them actually messaging me back, like, or messaging me on the first try, or I mean, I'm saying it wrong. If they actually made the initial message instead of me. That I don't think that's only happened like maybe once.
Impatient, filtering for the girls who are going to move the quickest, so they start sending these sexual messages, which some women might indulge in, otherwise these guys wouldn't send these types of messages. But clearly a bigger proportion of women are upset by it. Or it's because they want a relationship with this guy, but clearly he's not that interested. Meanwhile, for these 57% of men who say they don't get enough messages, that's what causes 30% of women saying that they receive too many messages. Because these guys end up becoming so desperate, they'll start swiping on every girl.
Stop being so desperate, guys. Stop it.
Sending a message to every match, even the ones they're not that interested in. And if that doesn't work, it's double, triple texting. And this behaviour is mainly coming from these guys. The guys who are trying to give themselves a chance, but didn't have the looks that women are going to consistently match with.
True.
That's what ultimately causes these complaints in women of feeling overwhelmed by the amount of messages and men continuing to contact them. In fact, I saw a funny clip recently highlighting this one perfectly.
I really need someone like you in my life.
What was the music
So
for?
as you can see, these are the types of dudes who will double message, triple message, be needy, even if he was left undelivered for...
That's definitely one thing I don't do on dating apps. Like, it's the double, triple message. I just usually say hi in some fashion. And if they don't reply, I move on.
hours. Now, you might be wondering, what about this box? What about the guy with good looks and a good personality? Well, this is an example of a guy who I think ticks both of these boxes. Obviously, it's just a picture.
Remember, husband material. It's not somebody they usually start off with.
This guy could actually be a terrible person. But just for the sake of explaining, we'll assume he has a good personality. So, why doesn't every girl choose this guy? Well, there's actually a more obvious reason for why girls
They don't
aren't choosing
qualify.
him. And it's this person right here. Yeah, he has a girlfriend. So in most situations, you'll
Oh, yeah. They don't qualify because he already has one that qualifies.
find these guys aren't on apps because they are already in a relationship. Or if he does download a dating app, he'll often find someone in the first couple days. Because he's got the looks to get a lot of matches, and he's got a good personality, he's nice and wants to be with a woman who's on his level. And that last part's important because obviously there'll be girls who try to get with him who are clearly below his level. This woman might try to get with this guy, and she might even match with him. But ultimately, guys like this, who tick both boxes, are usually wanting to get someone who's on his level. So for these types of women, they usually end up having to go for the bad boy Chad guys, or the nice dudes who are actually on her own looks level. But she doesn't find these very attractive, so
They never do, right? This is why this whole matchmaking dating scene is just so trash. Women just really don't think most men are ugly. It's just like, we can't help ourselves but be ugly. We were born this way.
she ends up stuck on
I
the
mean, some of us can fix our looks a little bit. I can admit that. Some of us really could do a little bit of grooming.
apps for ages. That's why often you'll find it confusing as a man. Girls who are on your own looks level aren't matching with you. And you sometimes see the same profiles of women 6 months to 2 years later after deleting and re-downloading the apps. So clearly her standards are too high. But of course for a woman who's more attractive, she might have a better chance of getting with a guy like this. Anyway, now getting to the most important game theory for this video. So there was a study published recently of 2,000 participants. And they asked both men and women, do you have a positive or negative view of the opposite gender?
Okay, yeah.
And shockingly, the people who said they disliked the opposite gender the most were women under 25.
The young
Look
people.
at this box here. It shows 27% of women under 25 saying they dislike men. They dislike men purely because they are men. Meanwhile, for men under 30, just 7% said they dislike women purely
I always say it. Men love women. You know, like, who doesn't love a good pair of boobies? Like, who? Tell me who.
for being women. And 72% said they have a positive view. 10 times higher, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Because given the amount of talk you hear in the media of men being sucked into rabbit holes, following bad influences, consuming harmful content, men still have an
Like, even as much as they're consuming harmful content, how harmful is most red pill content? There's a few extreme actors in our space, but most of the people we watch, Rocco TV, Poor Man's Podcast, MTR, even like freaking Manosphere or Legion of Men, they're all very, very like balanced in their views of things. They don't truly hate women. I don't see them spouting women, just complete trash and they need to burn or something like that. I don't really hear that. We hear, yes, women are trash because we watch a lot of women being trash and doing trash behavior, but that's about the extent that we go.
overwhelmingly positive view of women.
Well, I mean, we call them demons too.
And in actual fact, it's women who are having their minds warped by the things they see online. And it's to the point where there's nearly an equal chance if you picked a woman at random in real life that she'll have this negative view compared with a positive one.
Damn.
Whereas if you picked a man at random, there is a 10 times chance he holds a positive view of women compared to finding a man that hates them. So anyways, why is it like this? Why do women hate men so much more for men just being men? Well, I think the answer can be explained with this game theory. When women participate on dating apps, and most dating does happen on dating apps nowadays, they're
just mostly getting fucked, Boyd. Got it.
Coming into contact with these type of guys. The men with good looks, but terrible personalities. The dudes who just want to have fun and take...
So exactly what we've been saying this whole time, WheatWaffles. In their 20s, they get ran through by the bad boys. And then in their later ages, are all upset that they couldn't get a good man.
Women for a ride. That's why, have you ever heard from a woman? It seems every time she brings up an ex, he was a liar, manipulator, a narcissist. It's because they're usually interacting with these guys.
Okay, see now I'm gonna push back on you, WheatWaffles. I don't think they're all interacting with this guy, but I also think they're liars. That every guy that they interact with ends up being a narcissist or all these other things, right? You never hear them saying they ended up with some guy that treated them well, even though he treated them well. That's the problem I'm seeing with your theory here. These women, doesn't matter what the ex did, they always end up being a horrible ex, right? So how can we really use that as a gauge to really know if women are really just only with bad guys or not? Oh, well, we know that they choose them majority of the time, but it ain't every single damn time. But according to them, it's every damn time.
They often aren't meeting the good guys because these guys aren't on the apps.
True.
And if they are, they only want to get with someone on their level anyways. So this box is essentially removed. And as for the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guys down here, to most women,
us poor dweebs,
these are more or less invisible. In fact, it doesn't matter if he has a good or bad personality, this whole section is invisible. Because these guys are getting rejected on looks alone.
Yeah, because it's dating apps, right? It's just pure profile imaging. Because, tell the truth, again, men, we don't really curate our dating profiles to the T or to the 9, I think, like women do. So, or at least just women just have a lot more damn photos than we do. We literally don't have photos. At least my dumbass literally has no photos of myself, at least. Every time I go on vacation, I take pictures of everything else but myself.
At most, she'll match with a couple of these guys for the love of the game. But she's not serious about guys in this box. And that's shown because she's leaving these dudes on red for hours. So this massive section is essentially gone as well. And that means the majority of the guys that women are interacting with on these apps...
Alright, I admit you. Yes, probably majority of the people they are interacting with is this guy.
Is dudes who look like this, and this, and this. The guys who are leading women on, talking to multiple girls at once, and ghosting her after the first time if they ever met up. That's what's causing this shocking number of 27% of women to hate men for just hating men.
You know what? I can see it.
They're only seeing these men. Now, I know some guys are going to cope and say, oh, but this isn't true. Women aren't only matching with these guys.
No. I was just saying that it wasn't like 100% only these guys. But I admit the percentages that you're speaking of, Yeah, they sound pretty accurate. Yeah.
Okay, then who are the girls matching with then? Are you matching with them? Maybe as the beta jester before she inevitably leaves you on red. But who are the guys she's actually meeting up with?
And you know what? It is funny. Like as a man grows, in his life and stuff, I actually leave a lot of women on red.
I promise, if you looked at any woman's DMs on any app, not just Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, even Instagram, the dude she's taking more seriously, I promise they look like these guys.
True.
But you have to see it with your own eyes to believe it. And when the women interact with these dudes, we all know how it eventually goes down. Anyway, bringing back the 4 quadrants of the chart, we can assign names to each of the boxes. So the good looks and bad personality box is who I like to call the drowning in matches, or dim, which to be honest reflects a lot of their character. As for the good looks and good personality, it's already in relationships, so air, again a fitting name, because for most women this box doesn't really exist. How about the bad personality and poor looks section? Haven't really spoken about this yet. Well, these dudes are just invisible. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say about this section. If a man has no looks and no personality, why would a woman even want to associate herself with him?
100%.
But interestingly, this box is also invisible, at least in the romantic sense. But it's granted that some women will
Gets friend zoned.
want to have this guy around for his good personality, which basically turns him into the gesturing normie. But like I said, in the romantic sense, completely invisible. However, I've noticed it's quite common for guys who started here to try to move across to this zone, which is what I call niceification. So you'll often see sub 8 looks guys try to be nice to women, whether it's in a fake or real way, because they think it will land them more of a chance.
True. I see this quite often.
And they'll do this because they've often been told from the media that if he wants
Yeah,
a
they treat
girlfriend,
girls
he just
well.
has to be nice. Or he's reinforced from his own experience that when he's nicer to women, it sometimes leads to her replying to him more. But, unfortunately, that's usually in the context as a friend, not the boyfriend, which is the guys up here. And as a matter of fact, the game theory goes further because you'll often see that girls are more wanting to try to get these dudes and convert them into this box. They would rather try to get a guy with a bad personality and good looks and make him the boyfriend even though he doesn't
Well, I mean, personality can change. Looks, it's a little harder.
necessarily want it. And that's why women will often tell you that you just need to be nice. Because for these dudes, it literally is a matter of just be nice. But like I said, because the bottom 2 tiers are invisible, to her, it's true that if she tells the dude she wants to just be nice, then all of a sudden these men could be in relationships. But she doesn't realise that your lack of success is actually because of a lack of looks, rather than a lack of personality. Or she's just flat out lying and tells you one thing and does another.
Women.
But anyways,
Liars.
another point is, for these guys, it's often the case they don't even want to have a good personality. Because
Why do you need a pretty good personality? You're still getting laid.
they've got so many options. For these men, it's the opposite of niceification. And if anything, for the good...
This is where we call dark berserkers. Bam. This is where a lot of men are that watch my channel and Destro's channel. Dark berserkers.
looking guys,
What?
there's
$40
more dudes
hollis.
who end up adopting a worse personality once he's reached a certain level of looks. Because when you've got options, you can end up being nitpicky and dismissive, ghosting someone as soon as they step out of line, as soon as they don't give you exactly what you want right now this second, just like how women with loads of options end up treating you. So based on what I've seen, there ends up being more attractive guys falling into this category. I'll put it this way, imagine if you're a celebrity, and there's hundreds, literally hundreds of people queuing up to meet you and get your autograph. Now, imagine if the dude at the front of the queue asks, can you write a long personalised message? Then all of a sudden it's get the hell out of here. The celebrity has hundreds of people desperate for his attention. If a person asks for too much, get out the way, there's plenty other people waiting in the line. And that's not necessarily because the action itself was asking for too much. Because it's often the context. Imagine if there was a different person, less famous, maybe 100,000 YouTube subscribers. If the first fan ever recognised him public and asked him the exact same thing, then there's a way higher chance that he'll be receptive to it and happy to do it.
True.
People's self-perceived options always affects their attitudes. And you don't need to believe me on this, but they even did a study proving
Oh,
this is
that
true.
makes sense.
I spoke about it as one of my 8 studies video, which you can check out afterwards. Anyway, getting back to the chart, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is when we bring back the 3 biggest complaints women have from dating apps. In the same study, they also asked for men's biggest complaints. And the biggest complaint, which 71% of men reported, there are 0 prizes for guessing correctly what it was. Quite obviously, it was not receiving enough messages/matches. This shows quite evidently for the bottom 70% of men, they are feeling completely invisible. The next biggest complaint, 57%, was seeing dishonest or misleading profiles.
100%. I thought that'd be a little bit higher, but then again, the no messages does make sense that it'd be the highest.
Which you know how it is. A woman will look like this in the pictures, only to show up in real life and look 2 to 3 points worse. And lastly,
That's 2 to 3 points worse? Come on, WheatWaffles. Diabolical.
27% being called offensive names. Which probably happens because of the amount of attention and messages that women get, so they end up being dry or straight up rude to your polite offer. That's the power that comes with being a woman or an attractive man on these dating apps.
Shout outs to WheatWaffles. You know, I enjoy the content. I enjoy the game theory and the analysis and data behind everything. And it makes sense. Everything he talks about and speaks up in this video, I think most of us understand and already experienced, but now we see, oh, okay. Now it's just put into at least visuals for us. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And catch you next time. Ciao.